It seems every time that I make a plan, something unforeseeable happens. um, hey, welcome to my channel. This clearly is kind of really low key. I am sorry, it's just more convenient for me. So the Fell Harbor's stuff is set back there. That's the all of our gaming stuff for recording. That's why it's kind of hard to keep it pretty. And yeah, so I know the audio is good because I have my ride or die little mic here. It is an AT2020 USB. It was my very first mic 10 years ago, still going strong. So I don't care what anyone says about USB mics. I mean, I just love him. So, I know I'm just using a webcam. So if you're like, wow, her quality is not that great, that's why. Again, this is lazy. I'm literally doing this in Zoom. No lie. I was gonna do it all like I'm just like, you know what? I just need to be real and gritty for a moment, right? And nothing bad actually. Disappointing. So just so that I don't bury the lead, I unfortunately had to stop my internship. I do still have another internship, and I'm about to onboard with them. So let me just, now that you know what this is about, let's just start from the beginning, right? So I've always wanted to be a voice actress. Um, it's just not working out as a full-time career for me. I spent a lot of my budget and savings on marketing and coaching, and I don't regret that. I love my coach. I still consider him my coach. He still reaches out to me just to make sure that I'm doing okay. Like, it's awesome. And I am going to continue with him once I have funds for voiceover because, as I said before, I was ready to retire my voiceover career. But it is just something that is wholly a part of me, but more so than just necessarily the technical voiceover. It's the acting and it's the entertaining. I love the concept of being a professional storyteller, and that's kind of where I'm landing right now in my journey. And so I no longer need to necessarily be the voice of the story. Of course, I'm never going to knock that. And I actually, ironically, once you stop trying, you get some stuff. So I do have about 3 audiobooks in the works of, like, the authors have booked me through a dual. I don't know if I can, I think he's fine. His name's Garrett. I just won't say his last name or anything. But found him through another coach of mine, and the coach recommended me to be the female narrator for the dual narration for this male narrator. So what happens is this male narrator goes for these auditions, talks with the authors, and they really love him. And then they're like, "Do you have a female voice narrator who can do this with you?" Then he reaches out with me and says, "Hey, would you like to do this?" So I've already done one project with him like this. We've already got another one scheduled for the beginning of 2024. We're in working up an actual, like, contract with this other person right now. Should have that by the end of the week. So I'm still getting stuff, even though I'm not actively auditioning. I actually have started, I guess it was last week, I did start auditioning again. I took a solid month off where I got auditions through my agents and I just deleted them. I was just like, I need a breather. And so I've taken that breather. I am still heartbroken. It's really hard to explain. It kind of feels similar to an interesting degree if you've ever lost a loved one, either, a furry family member or, maybe like a cousin or something. So it's not necessary. Well, I don't know. I mean, I've never lost a parent or a sibling, so I can't really say what that feels like. But it is a very similar feeling to have to resign yourself to not doing what makes you happy. and what you truly enjoy, and really feeling rejected and unwanted by the thing that you really enjoy. So just keep that in mind, that when you hear me trying all these different things, it's because I do feel like I am a positive person. Usually, the glass is always half full. I always joke, yeah, if you get lost, it's just an adventure. Um, but at the heart of it, I am mourning um, something very important to me. And it's hard. It's just hard if you're not going through it yourself. I think all of the creatives out there can kind of conceptualize this, especially if I just realized I'm not naked. It just looks like I am. Sorry, I have the heater on, so I don't need anyway, whatever. Um, yeah, you can't really say like, hey, if you love accounting and then someone told you you're fired and you can never do anything with math and statistics and accounting again. It's hard to be like, yeah, or like that, like you're a vet and then suddenly, or maybe, yeah, like if you're a masseuse and then you get into a car accident and now you can't do dexterous, stuff or whatever, you get carpal tunnel. Like it happens where you can no longer do your passion. But the only thing keeping me from my passion is booking the work. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I did not mean to go on that tangent, but I will try to put a timestamp so you can skip all that. So I came to that conclusion. I sat with it, I mourned it, and then I said, time to get over yourself and think of a different plan. So I decided I do legitimately love project management. It was already in my plan B backup plan of trying to get into the entertainment industry in whatever way. And by entertainment, I mean media, potentially news. I'm not a sports fan. So if I were to do anything with sports, it would have to be the logistics side of it. I could be a project manager for a sports news station because I'm not the one who has to come up with the stories. I would just keep everything, making sure schedules are met and stuff like that. So, I'm not kind of like with construction. I could be a project manager in construction. Doesn't mean I actually know how to drive the machinery. I don't need, being a project manager doesn't mean you necessarily know the details of the work that you do, like software. I wouldn't have to actually be a developer. I would just need to know what solution are we finding for the clients? Like, what is this service, product, whatever, how is it helping clients? And then how can you mainstream and streamline that process to make it very smooth, always meeting, project management is 90% communication. So, it's pretty good. So I'm good with it. I have done it in the past. I got certified. And then I hit another roadblock of not being able to find a position as a project manager. Suddenly, when I saw things and it was like, oh, it would be great if you had a certification. Now all these things are saying you need 7 to 10 years of experience, and I only have about 5. And so I was getting rejected, or my application wasn't even being seen. I had not gotten a single interview for that. I was getting bites and stuff for marketing, but I already decided I didn't want to go back to marketing. Project management does have similarities to marketing. And it's great if you know marketing, because again, it's about communicating. So communicating publicly is what marketing is. So having that skill set, I'm very grateful that I was able to have that real world, professional experience in marketing, and even if in my job and everything. But it doesn't do the storytelling I thought it would from what I did. Now, I was only working in nonprofit, so that sector is probably a little bit different. But yeah, I just didn't want, so I actually, ironically, I did get, an interview for a nonprofit, doing more of the like business development side of stuff. And when I decided to remove myself from candidacy, they did say, "You are our number one priority, number one candidate," and we were ready to move you on to meet the board and basically get hired. So it was nice to know and nice to hear that, but that added more guilt because I was like, I probably could rock this job for about 3 months and then it would just get to me to be like, this is it for the rest of my life. Like it's a lot to kind of think about. And I've always struggled with that, but that's another story. So I then decided, okay, well, if I can't break in the way that I was planning, maybe I can start from the ground up. I had spoken to someone in the, in that realm, and they said volunteer and do that kind of stuff. So I found some internships. And so that's how I started this thing of doing, the internships. So at first, I didn't think I was going to get anything. That's why I applied to so many, and I accepted 3. One was to write for games, or a gaming website. Sorry for whatever. I did get one, and I just called it I was a guest writer because I did write that one, and I sent it, and they published it, and people liked it, from what I can hear and what I can tell. But it was going to take a lot more of my time. And it was going to be very similar to what I wanted to do on my channel, but I wasn't really able. I thought I would be able to use it a little bit more than I was actually able to. And so the cons kind of outweighed the pros on that one. I still really, they've been great. They never responded to me. But also they never responded. So clearly they know that I don't, I can't do it anymore. But again, you need to be responsible. And I think you can tell with my videos, following my passion and being responsible are always coming to a head with each other. And I am always trying to make a plan or find a way to make those merge and be happy. Right before Thanksgiving, we had a major water, or like a main break of our water in our home that was very expensive and is causing a lot of financial stress that we didn't have prior to that. And it's just getting to the point where I was like, I need to just get a move on, if that makes sense. And so I actually did get a part-time job. It is actually with the company that I worked with before I went full-time as a voiceover artist. And they're really doing me a solid. Essentially, they made this position to help me out. They need the help, but they weren't necessarily planning on hiring anyone to do it. And the idea is that it will only be about a month to 2 months. I probably foresee it going into 2 months just because once they get the ball rolling, they'll want me to finish the projects that I'm working on. And so I'm actually meeting them with today to get all that sorted out, signed the SOW, everything. So I'll be a contractor. So I'm not an actual like standard employee. But that will really help because it will just help me kind of, stay afloat, help with some other things. But to do that, today is Monday and my internship was going to be 11 to 3. And the original concept was that I was going to start at 8 a.m. today. The person I was going to speak with is unfortunately ill, so that got canceled. So I just have the 2:00 meeting today. So technically, it was just going to they were not going to do well together because the hours can vary. And I think the idea is part-time, but I kind of see it being task by task. And so if they have 5 things for me to do and I finish one super early, like I could probably do more, and so, or like that, if it's just 1 month full-time or 2 months part-time kind of thing, I'm really efficient and I'm really trustworthy. And I think this is actually proof of that, that a former employer would do this for me. I do know them now personally. A lot of the the employees or employers, I guess. But the CEO is new, so she doesn't know me. She's just going off of what she heard. So I'm very, very truly touched. If any of you guys see this, thank you so much. It's always a joy working with you guys. But I think you guys know when I quit, like I need to do something that is going to satisfy that part of me. And unfortunately, there's just that position doesn't exist in this company. I mean, maybe what I'm doing now, like it could, but it's just not how this company, this organization runs. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just they don't need a project manager because they don't really have projects in that way. But I am grateful that I have this opportunity. But that also means that it was not going to work out with the film studio. And so I did reach out with them and I did cancel. I did actually just get a response back. And basically they were like, I'm really sorry to see you go, but I hope it works out. And they did actually say, reach out if you ever are able to come back. So they do like me, but they also completely understand. And like I said, I told them, it really was it's a financial thing. I cannot afford to give free time, pay for gas and everything without, and it was going to be, I was going to be able to work part-time just to kind of keep myself afloat like that with like gas and everything. But then this other thing hit and Christmas is coming up and it was just like, the money that I could spend on gas could go to something else. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the primary reason why I left. There is also a secondary. So I want this vlog to be honest, but I don't want to burn any bridges. But I think they would admit that they are not as organized as they would probably like to be. And that becomes an issue when you're working with interns specifically. Usually internships, from what I've seen on the other side, being the mentor for internships, you are not supposed to assign them things that an actual employee would be doing. And it's difficult in the creative scope of things because that is what people like the interns do want to do, that actual work. So there is that leeway there. I am not saying they're doing anything illegal or anything malicious or anything like that. They're wonderful. Everyone I met was so nice, so kind, and just so open to teaching others and just kind of letting you grow. And I think it's great for those who are in it, who are just out of college and don't really have any professional experience to add on their resume, not only just in like film, but a job. Like some of these people that I had been working with, they never had a job. They worked from high school to college and now they're doing this. And it's great for them for a resume. But speaking with some of the ones that are like about to end their 3-month, some of the stuff that was promised did not come to fruition for them. And I am mainly specifically talking about networking because yes, they will teach, you can edit stuff, you can do a videographer. They promise they will hold, training sessions and stuff like that. That's fantastic. And that's why I'm saying this is nothing against them. And I am so grateful for this opportunity because even though I was only there for like 4 days, I realized I don't want to be the videographer. I do love being like the director and having that idea, but that's more of the pre-production stuff more so. I do enjoy the project management side of things rather than that one piece. So I don't need to be the videographer. I don't need to be the video editor. I want to be there when we talk about, the storyboard, getting, casting everybody, setting up the call sheet, making sure the client likes, what we've made, if it is like a marketing thing versus if it's a creative, if they actually wrote it or whatever, then they want to be the director. There's different, it's different scopes for different things. But this really did teach me that is what I want to do. So for that, I am grateful, because I was wondering, well, should I be a video editor? I enjoy video editing. And if that were a part of my job because I need to fill in for the team, or to make like a mock-up thing to be like, well, this is what I'm considering, but it's not the final end product. I'm fine doing that, but I don't want my sole position to be video editor or videographer or anything like that. So this internship taught me a lot in a very small time. And so that is, I did get something out of it. But I don't see it being something that would help advance my career. And so I already had that in the back of my mind. And then I spoke with my father at Thanksgiving, and this had just come from a really big financial thing. And then there was an incident, not a big thing. The orientation video didn't have direction. We didn't have a mission statement for a film studio, so we used the main umbrella one as the base and went off that. The CEO, who was like, the director of this, saw our edit, liked two of ours, so they wanted us to work together. And so we created a third edit, essentially. I specifically did ask for more direction. What pieces do you like from mine? What pieces do you like from the other guy? And they literally said, that's for you to figure out. So we discussed it, and they gave us additional video footage that they wanted us to incorporate. And so that's why, so we essentially made a third video. We pulled in very few pieces from mine, very few pieces from his. We basically made a whole new one video because we didn't get any feedback. The only feedback was very, very vague, that I do not want to say publicly. But it was just very vague. It was basically, can you use this kind of video versus that kind of video, basically. So we finish it, and he comes in and he says, it's not quite there. The mission statement's incorrect. And it really bothered me because two of the other, so there are three people who work there. So two of the others had already seen this, already heard the script and everything at least twice. And this was the second time that the CEO heard it. So the first time he saw 3 videos, and he said he needed to mull it over, he needed to kind of just let it sit. And that we were told that we were going to get a write-up of feedback in the system that we were using so that we could use it to edit. And that didn't happen. We came in the next day and they said, merge your 2, but that's all the feedback you have. So it was really frustrating. And that was the kind of the red flag that set off the, like, I don't think I can ignore this anymore. And then they, we're moving areas because the place that we were originally going doesn't have enough space for all of the interns. And it just was reminding me of some other avenues I have tried in the past that they weren't necessarily scams, but they were a waste of my time. Again, I am not saying film studio itself in this instance is a scam or wasting my time. As I've already said, I got something out of it, actually quite a few things, because I also met someone who used my audio for their final senior project, that it was actually for a real world client. So that potentially could, become something, or at least like that, I'm spreading my voice around, and it was fun to do. So I could put that on my resume because it was legit a client. It doesn't matter. No one cares if I got paid for it or not. I can put it on there that this has commercial use and it was my voice. So I definitely got more out of it than not. But yeah, it was just some things that were concerning. And again, when I say that, I don't mean that by like any kind of legal sense, just in terms of the pro con list of what's the responsible thing to do, what is a good thing, because I am an actionable person, a now person, which is great for project management because I am able to juggle a lot of different aspects and I'm able to flip the switch very fast. So that unfortunately also means that in my personal life, I'm always prioritizing and seeing if something is worth my time versus something else. And that's why a lot of my personal issues or not issues, personal projects get put on the back burner because they don't have the same priority that other things get. So they just get pushed aside. And that's ultimately what happened, is just that I was hoping, I was telling myself, be patient to find a job, and that maybe this would open windows and doors for me, open all orifices, don't use that word. But ultimately it proved not. So again, I would love to collaborate with them sometime in the future if they ever wanted to use my voiceover services. I don't see where I would fit in as an employee, just because where they are, probably they would not be established enough to hire me for what I want to actually do. They do want producers and project managers, but I see that in the next 5 years for them. And I need something now. You know what I mean? I just have had a lot of bad luck with startups, and I just saw where this was going. So again, if any of you guys from the studio see this, I don't mean any disrespect. I don't mean any offense. It's just not what I personally need for my professional growth at this time. But I would never talk bad about, film studio, again, like that. I'm not naming it. I'm not listing it. I'm not going to attach myself to anything because the social things was actually for the other umbrella things. So yeah, there's no association. So it was just, it's a clean cut. And I don't think I burnt a bridge there, but honestly, that bridge is within the same pond. You know what I mean? Like, I don't actually think it would have gone anywhere. So, all that being said, I did decide to reach out to a project management career coach who very specifically used to work as a hiring manager for project managers. And so she actually has her own business that this is all she does. So she helps with transformational skills and stuff. So it's like, if I did this thing, well, you can say this is like this in project management, that kind of thing. So she can help with my resume and my cover letter, LinkedIn profile. And she also has some tactics to reach out and actually get noticed, because that was where I'm having an issue. And ironically, it sounds like a lot like what I was doing for my voiceover career. So basically, you have to market yourself to get a job these days, or at least in something like this. But she is pretty confident that she'd be able to help me. She focuses on information, technology sort of things, but she's worked in other departments and avenues and areas. So she thinks that, the media and entertainment, I should probably still see success there if I used her services. Obviously, there is a fee. But the ultimate goal, unlike with the marketing for voiceover, I only need one yes. I don't need multiple clients. I need one employer. So I like those odds a lot more, because I have gotten some nibbles and stuff through the marketing for voiceover. It goes a little bit slower. So this is a little bit different in that these people will be actively hiring. So if they like me, then I get an interview. You know what I mean? She also knows the actual questions that they will ask project managers and how to incorporate my skills and stuff into what they're looking for. So I'm optimistically cautious about it. I have not signed up with her, but I think at this point I probably will, because I need direction and I need mentorship to get the ball rolling. I also really loved that she told me I was selling myself short if I were to take a project coordinator position. So where I was like, I need to climb the ladder. She's like, you can already start on the third floor, kind of thing, So that's cool to hear. And if she can actually help me present myself that way, because that's what I need. It's all about that presentation. So that's why I'm really like leaning on, maybe I will use her. I am meeting this afternoon with they're reverse recruiting, so they're headhunters or whatever. So basically they would work with me to help me find a job. So they have connections and networking and stuff through their stuff. So they can say, hey, like in How I Met Your Mother, where Barney would be like, have you met Ted? That kind of thing. And like just shove him, like the wingman. They would be my wingman, as far as I understand it. I have to, speak with them specifically. But so they would take my stuff there and I would be like, this is what I want as a job. And they would be like, cool. So we found this, this, and this. Are these the things that you're talking about? And I'd be like, yeah. And then they submit on my behalf, and until I get a job. So I need to speak with them to see what their service cost is. It also reminds me, I used to use a Rainmaker for my voiceover marketing, the exact same way. Again, it's marketing, but for a job. And I really feel like I could write my own course at this point. I'm a professional job seeker. It's the worst. I was told by that other one, she was like, well, are you interested in contracting? And I'm like, I physically, yes, I could do that. I don't want to. I do not want to find clients anymore. I want to be in a safe home, in a safe cocoon, and then just be awesome at that, be that team member that you can rely on, which I've done in other areas. And that's why it's so funny, because it's like my job title was marketing manager, but I was doing project management, and I'm good at it. And I like doing it as long as I am acknowledged for that. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing like being used versus being utilized. So, So at the end of the day, I am optimistic, but I tried. So what happened in between, I got my certificate in September, and then I just didn't get any feedback. And so that's why, so I applied, and now I can't remember the exact, so it was September 13th is when I got my certificate. I pretty much hit the ground running, applying to places. And then maybe it was mid-October, I think it was more like early November is when I applied for these internships. So I spent a solid month, maybe almost a month and a half, applying to places. And when I mean applying to places, I hear other people, they're like, man, I applied to like 3 jobs a day. I just am not getting any nibbles. I applied to over, let's see, because I would say like the film studios, I did 300. And then there was also like advertising people, I did like 400, like literally, and I had the Excel spreadsheets. At this point, especially through LinkedIn, the easy apply, I have literally applied to like 1,000 project management positions. So, and I'm not, that's no hyperbole. Even if you wanted to deduce that, I literally 500, it was closer to 700, and I stopped counting. So that's why I think it's 1,000. But even if you don't want to take my word for it, my counting, definitely 500, closer to 700 applications that I submitted, that I honestly was like, yeah, I'm qualified for this. There were a few where I was like, maybe not so qualified. Ironically, one of those was the nonprofit thing that I turned down. So like, who knows, right? So I'm trying. I'm trying. It was a full-time job, finding a job, and I became unhealthy. I would wake up, I would apply for hours, I would stop for lunch, I would do this other thing, I would come back and I would apply until like 2 a.m. I just, anything that said project coordinator, assistant, implementation specialist, like I was applying to everything, construction, things that I do not have any desire to do, I was applying for. And I saw where they downloaded my stuff, or I was put on the like the hold list where like they didn't say no to my application, they just liked other people better. Yeah, at least half of those, they didn't even look at my application. I know that because it was through like ZipRecruiter and LinkedIn, like they'll show you when you were viewed, So I know that not all of those were rejection. I did not get 700 rejections, but I have gotten a lot of rejections and a lot of just not interested, just not looking at my stuff to give me a chance. That is why I am saying clearly there is something wrong with my resume. Clearly, there is something wrong with the way I am presenting myself. And I think the main issues are LinkedIn, I was heavily using for voiceover, and I will continue to heavily use for voiceover. But at this point, when I need to get a very specific job, I need to switch it 100% over to project management. And I really, I've been holding on because like that, I have that voiceover coach and he told me don't give up. And it feels like I would be giving up. And it's not, it's a strategy. I realize it's a game essentially, right? It's a game with high stakes. And so I need to get the career that I'm going to stay at for years and grow and love and yada, yada. And then I can do my side hustle afterwards, but I can't side hustle as my main hustle anymore. It's just too much hustle. I broke a hip. So that's that. And then two, people are really put off by the fact that I am self-employed. It is really weird, but I've spoken to a lot of recruiters who like found so I didn't apply. They found my resume, and I've literally said, they're like, what does this mean? Owner and project manager and voiceover artist. And I'm like, I'm a full-time freelance artist. Literally, more than one person has come back and said, so you're unemployed. And I'm like, I'm not unemployed. I just don't have any clients right now. I'm not getting paid, but I still have my own damn business. Or like that. Some of them I am getting paid. I just am not getting paid enough. I'm underemployed, as the saying goes. But if recruiters are saying that, potential employers are saying that, And so with this contractual part-time gig or whatever, I could potentially say that is under my freelance voice, whatever, but I'm gonna use that and say I went back to my employer. So there's going to be a 2-year where I worked for myself and then I went back to the employer, because seeing me work for somebody else, it makes you more attractive. It is 100% proven in my opinion, because I have done a lot of job hopping and I have noticed that if I am actively working somewhere and say, that I'm looking for a job versus I quit a job before I found something, I get responses faster. And I know the economy of job hunting is worse these days, but that is still true, I think. If you're unemployed, people see you as either desperate or unwanted, basically, which is what you feel like. So saying that I work for somebody else, but I'm looking for something else, automatically you become more attractive. And so I'm going to utilize that. Again, it's another strategy. And so that I need to wait till this afternoon because I don't exactly know what they're gonna call me. Like I could give myself like administrative specialist. I'm going to do the piecemeal. I'm a glorified floater. You need me to do data entry, you need me to call these people, you need me to, like, it's piecemeal work, and I need it to sound a little bit more put together. But since they're doing me a solid anyway, maybe I could ask, hey, can you just call me a project manager? We'll see what they say. But no, that's where I am. I very long-winded, but I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I'm just like talking to a friend. So anyway, so where does this leave the channel? Well, I am still working on that one. So it's about Fortnite. I was starting a new series called Out of the Loop, where I take really popular things and I talk about them as if you've never heard of them, because sometimes that happens. And so that's what I'm doing. But I don't really like taking B-roll from other creators. So I kept kind of holding off getting footage of Fortnite. And I think I'm just gonna bite the bullet, like, because I found 3 or 4, and I'm just gonna use what I found. It might not be great or really, I like to match what I'm talking about, like really specifically, but I just need to get this out. At this point, just, it's too old, just get it out. I think it's a good video. It's got, like, the information isn't old, it's just, I just got to get past the mental bump. Obviously I do have that second internship with the it's Wonder Women Tech. Okay. So they are completely rebranding, and they kind of need more assistance. And so it's very intriguing to me. And I see that, ironically, even before I started the internships, I thought that film studio was going to be the best one, because I was going to be hands-on in person. They changed it, so 2 out of the 3 days were going to be remote anyway. And they don't network outside of their thing, so I would never go to events and stuff with them. And so then this other one, this tech one, I was like, well, it's all online, so I'm not really gonna be able to network, but it can be globally, networking and stuff, and it's in tech. So if I wanted to be a project manager in tech and I meet the board or whatever, because I'm helping present strategic, marketing plans and stuff, because that's what I'm good at. So I'm helping, like, now I'm starting to see that it might be good to keep this one. So I don't know. My onboarding was going to be this week, and then I was like, I'm starting this thing, so I can't guarantee I have that time. And they're great. They're like, yeah, let us know, because they were slow to onboard me, because they're actually, one of them was sick, so they had to wait. Totally understandable. So hopefully sometime this week I will be onboarded with them, so I can start with them, and I will have my part-time job. Part-time. I still don't know if they'll utilize me longer than part-time or more than part-time, but whatever. I'm flexible. So I am gonna still continue vlogging. It's just not going to necessarily be about internships. It's just going to be my personal journey to professional whatever, kind of like with my blog. I still haven't written a damn thing. And I kept meaning to. Maybe I will today. I don't know. Anyway, so I will still post the internships, the vlogging stuff. Like, it's still not getting the attention that I don't think my viewers of this channel will want to see. So I am probably going to focus more on the semi-scripted stuff. I do think I'm going to do more off the cuff with entertainment news and gaming, where I looked it up and I give my opinion, but it's not scripted, because I think that's the strongest content and I can get that out faster. But I am going to still do these like out of the loop things, because Overwatch, Fortnite, Valorant, whatever, like, there's so many things out there where it's like, if you didn't follow it when it was becoming awesome and now it's too late, like, you're just out of the loop, literally out of the loop. So I do think that there's a niche there that I can fill. But I'm just gonna have fun, and that's kind of where I'm going with it. I do still have like some writing stuff, that like creative mini um, TV show type thing, like web series and stuff. I'm still gonna do it. I have to sit and write it, but mostly what I was holding off on is it's hard to do the visual direction of a script when you don't know what your medium is. And I wanted to switch from using Barbies to actual like animation stuff. But I'm just not exactly sure how that's going to work. So anyway, so I'm still here, obviously. Um, the plan really hasn't changed, except I am gonna try to use an elevator versus climbing a ladder. So stick with me, because by next week something could change. Who knows? I am not planning anymore. I think the plan is just to not plan, to just throw a whole bunch of, slime at the window and see what sticks. So thanks for watching this really long rambling thing. I'm probably not going to trim it too much, because this is just me on raw, unraw? No, unedited / raw. And at least I know the audio will be good. I know I'm kind of washed out. It's the window. What can you do? But thanks, because I just don't know that I was going to record this in the studio this way, and I just needed to sit and talk it out. Which I do really well in the car, but then the audio sucks, and I'm an audiophile. I don't really necessarily care for the visuals. The audio needs to sound great. So I chose one over the other. Not that the visuals weren't all that great in the car. Anyway, whatever. Remember, you are loved, you are worthy, and whatever you are struggling with today will pass. Until next time, stay crazy.